The heavy glass doors of the diner swung open with a sharp, metallic ring. Danny Sullivan caught Peggy's hand,
his grip firm, and pulled her across the threshold. The transition was instant.
The stale, warm air of the diner vanished, replaced by a sharp,
cool breeze that carried the scent of rain and asphalt. They did not hesitate. They hit the sidewalk at a sprint, their boots striking the pavement in a frantic, syncopated rhythm. Laughter erupted from them, raw and loud, bouncing off the brick walls of the narrow alleyway. As they rounded the corner,
the world opened up. Main Street was a wall of sound. Hundreds of people surged forward, a tide of movement that pulled them into the center of the district. Danny didn't slow down. He wove through the gaps in the crowd, dragging Peggy along as the vibration of the music began to rise from the very ground beneath their feet.
Every step felt lighter than the last.
They were no longer running away. They were running toward the center of the pulse. The street was alive, and for this moment, the boundary between the quiet night and the city had ceased to exist. The street transformed into a gallery of polished steel. Rows of classic cars lined the curbs, their chrome bumpers mirroring the strobe of neon signs above. Danny and Peggy slowed their pace, swallowed by the sheer density of the crowd. Everywhere they looked, the asphalt was a blur of motion. Dancers skidded across the road, their feet carving rhythmic patterns into the grit. Couples spun in tight, rapid-fire swings, limbs moving in perfect sync with the bass line. Children darted through the gaps like sparks, clapping their hands to the driving tempo that thumped against the brick facades. The air itself felt thick with the vibration of 100 moving bodies. Every shop window cast a long, warm glow across the sidewalk, illuminating faces fixed in wide, rhythmic grins. There was no room for hesitation here. The collective energy of the town forged a singular, unstoppable force. Danny watched a pair of dancers lock hands and spin, their momentum carrying them inches from the parked machines. The entire street had become a living, breathing instrument, and every person on the asphalt was playing their part in the symphony. Danny pushed forward, his eyes locked on the elevated stage at the end of the thoroughfare. The band was a blur of motion under the spotlights. The upright bass player leaned back, fingers snapping against the taut strings, while the drummer hammered out a relentless, driving tempo that dictated the heartbeat of the entire street. Danny climbed the wooden steps, the wood vibrating beneath his boots. He reached the microphone stand, gripped the chrome neck, and pulled it down to his height. The electric guitar surged, a sharp, piercing sound that cut through the roar of the crowd. Every person on the asphalt stopped their spinning to look up. Silence held for a heartbeat. Then Danny opened his mouth. His voice soared, clear and powerful, riding the crest of the music. It was a singular, rising note that demanded attention. The crowd surged forward, a wave of bodies pressing toward the stage. Danny leaned into the mic, his posture rigid, his focus fixed on the sea of faces below. The band accelerated, the tempo climbing, pushing the townspeople into a frantic, rhythmic dance. The air hummed with the electric charge of the performance, a peak of sound that felt ready to shatter the glass of the nearby shop windows. The camera began a slow, steady retreat, widening the frame to capture the entire district. From this height, the street became a grid of neon light, pulsating with the rhythm of the music. The Lucky Star gas station glowed like a beacon, while the vinyl record store windows cast a warm, inviting light across the pavement. Further back, the towering Ferris wheel at Happy Days Park began to spin against the dark sky, a wheel of flickering color. In the distance, the screen of the Sunset Drive-In pulsed with silent, rhythmic motion. High above the rooftops, the first of the fireworks bloomed. Brilliant bursts of gold, crimson, and violet exploded in the air, their light cascading down to dance across the polished hoods of the cars below. Danny and Peggy stopped in the center of the street, their heads tilted back to track the light. The scale of the celebration expanded, turning the night into a canvas of fire and neon. Every rooftop, every alleyway, and every face in the crowd caught the shifting glow. The city was no longer just a collection of buildings. It was a living, breathing monument to the sound. The aerial view pushed higher, revealing the vast, glowing map of the district as it vibrated under the weight of the spectacle. The camera continued its smooth, continuous aerial ascent, rising until the street grid shrank into a web of light. At the city limits, the massive, illuminated sign burned with electric intensity, spelling out the name of the place in crisp letters. Directly beneath it, the golden neon glow of the secondary sign promised that the rhythm would never fade.
The band on the stage below struck the final, thunderous chord. It echoed once against the brick facades and then died.
The music cut out instantly. Every neon sign on the main thoroughfare flickered once, then dimmed. The warm glow of the record store vanished. The pulses of the gas station died. The Ferris wheel stopped its spin. The entire city plunged into a soft, quiet darkness. The silence held for 2 heartbeats in the void. Slowly, elegant golden script faded into view on the black screen. It read, "See you next Saturday." The letters remained suspended in the dark for a long moment, catching the faint reflection of the viewer's gaze, before dissolving completely into the shadows. The show was over, but the promise of the next beat lingered in the air.